Hi everyone, this is Rao again with a review for Bakuman Volume 7. At the end of Volume 6, the chief editor had made his decision on which series to cancel. He cancelled Hideout Door by Aoki and Nakai. And he cancelled, which we find out in Volume 7, Detective Trap by Mashiro and Takagi. So at the beginning of Volume 7, he says that Miura, the editor, finds out, and the editor, Miura, tells Mashiro and Takagi, and they're devastated. This was the consequence for Mashiro going to hospital, going on hiatus. So they've lost it. They've lost their manga. They've lost Detective Trap. Their dream has now been halted. So they're depressed and don't know what to do, so they said they're going to take a little break before continuing drawing manga. But then Mashiro receives a text from Miho saying to keep going at it, I haven't given up, I'll wait forever, etc. And he gets his motivation again, fully resolved to create an even bigger hit than Detective Trap. At this time, Takagi and Mashiro are preparing to take their exams for the entrance exam, for a university. They pass and they get into university. So as they're working, trying to come up with ideas on what to do, the editor advises them to go for a gag manga. Mashiro is kind of confused because he knows Takagi is good at writing stories that are serious, or sci-fi-ish, or something like that. So he disagrees with Miura, the editor. Later, there's a Takagi is convinced by Mashiro that he is better at doing serious than gag. But Miura, the editor, doesn't really want to hear it. He tells them, do gag manga, do a gag manga. Of course, gag mangas in real life do pretty well. But they don't want to do a gag manga because, well, they just don't want to. They want to create a hit series. And it's true that not too many, well, I don't know a gag manga that's been a huge hit. Reborn started as a gag manga. Anyway, so at this point, Takagi and Mashiro come up with an idea where they'll create a storyboard for both a gag manga and a series, and they'll present the gag manga to Miura, the editor, for serialization meeting, etc. And they were going to give the series enter the series manga that they created into a competition. It was the Eiji Nizuma's award or cup, something like that, where Eiji Nizuma was going to judge, as well as the other editors and chief editor, to see who would win the competition. So Miura's kind of upset because Mashiro and Takagi kind of seem as if they appreciate more what Eiji Nizuma thinks of their manga than their own editor. So they have an argument, very loud argument in fact, and other editors have to step in to kind of calm it down. And in the end, Miura says that, okay, we'll allow this and we'll forget about it for now. So, but the other editors know that it's kind of unfair for the other people who have entered that competition that Takagi and Mashiro entered, because they're kind of professionals, you could say. Well, they are professionals now, professional mangakas. And the amateurs who have entered this competition won't exactly have a chance. So the deputy editor says that you'll enter it, but you won't win the prize. You'll only be judged, that's it. At the very least, your manga will be printed in the magazine. So Takagi and Mashiro are happy by this. As long as it's getting judged, that's it. to actually win the AG's Nizuma's award. This bring about doubts whether they should actually be doing gag manga or serious, and the other editors also believe that Mashiro and Takagi should do serious, but some other editors believe that gag manga will be a good change for them. So they've come up with another idea. They say, okay, we'll enter your gag manga in one series, one magazine, sorry, 1 week, and then we'll do the other one the week after. We'll wait until the rankings come in, and we'll see which one is higher. The one which is higher will be serialized, or at least go to the serialized meeting. Serialization meeting. So Takagi and Mashiro say, yes, we'll leave this up to our fans, up to the readers to decide which is better. When the rankings finally get in, there's only a difference of 1. The serious manga gets a rank of 9 and the gag gets a rank of 10. But Mashiro and Takagi still think that doing the serious is better. But later, what happened is that Miura does more research on why gag manga is better. You know, he's trying to convince Mashiro and Takagi to do gag manga. During this time, Mashiro and Takagi are actually doing storyboards for the series, which I think is called Future Watch. And Miura sets up a meeting with them, and he's trying to convince them. And he shows Takagi and Mashiro data suggesting that doing gag manga is better because it lasts longer. It doesn't go to a higher rank, but it lasts longer. And later on, if you want to, you can change it to a battle manga or something else. It's the same story that happened with Reborn. Reborn started as a gag manga, and now it's more of a battle manga. Anyway, Takagi is convinced by this because he's a guy who's convinced by data. You know, it's there, it shows, it's on a graph, tables, etc. Whereas Mashiro is not convinced at all. And he tells Miura, we don't want to create a long-running manga that's just average in ranks or just good. We want to create a hit series, a hit manga, one that will blow everyone's mind out. You know, it's just incredible. Do better than all of them. Do better than Eiji Nizuma. And Miura's like, okay, I'm not going to be able to convince Mashiro. And he says, okay, then fine. If you don't want to do this, then go find another partner or something like that. And Takagi gets upset by this because Miura is telling them to basically break up, because Takagi is convinced to do a gag and Mashiro is not. So Takagi is furious. He says some few mean things and he walks out. Mashiro chases after him. They walk a distance. Takagi is trying to let off steam. And finally Mashiro says, okay, we should give gag manga a go. And Takagi goes like, what? After I said all that to Miura? And Miura's kind of confused and he has doubts during this time. He's like, what did I say wrong? Like, did I say something wrong? I'm confused. And then he goes and sees Hattori for some counsel, I guess. And Hattori convinces Miura to go and ask for Takagi and Mashiro's forgiveness because he was in the wrong here. Because he was telling them to break up, and look how much they've been through, and just to form their team. So Takagi and Mashiro forgive him, and the story goes on where they're trying to create their gag manga. Takagi gets stuck, so he decides to call someone for advice. This someone is Koi Aoki. She was doing Highlight Door with Nakai, but during this volume we see that they break up as a team, not as a relationship, but they break up, and a new editor convinces Aoki to actually stay in Shonen Jump, and because at this point she wants to actually leave and go and do shoujo manga, which she's actually best at. But this new editor convinces her to stay and gives her tips to create her own manga, to do the storyline and to do the artwork. And the editor advises her, based on her artwork and based on her previous stories, that she should do some kind of relationship manga, you know, some love manga, some love comedy manga even. And she says, okay, I'll do it. But at this point she's never actually been in a relationship, or at least a serious relationship, so she doesn't know the point of view of the relationship from the point of view of a man. So she's kind of stuck herself. Certain events happen, can't exactly remember what, but Takagi and Aoki talk and converse and try and swap ideas, or come up with ideas for each other to help each other's manga, to get a better perspective on Takagi of a woman's point of view, and from Aoki from a man's point of view. Sometimes they meet in a park, and during this time, as I said, they started university, but at Aoki's university, because she's already a university student, there's a new freshman, and guess who it is? It's Iwase. Iwase is the girl we see in volume 1 and 2. She's the girl that had a crush on Takagi. Kind of a crush. They actually thought that Takagi and herself were in a relationship because he shook her hand or something like that. Very strange, but from that point she fell in love with him, and Takagi chose Miyoshi over her, because Iwase told Takagi to leave manga, don't waste your time doing it. And at this point Iwase hears that Aoki does manga, creates manga, she's a mangaka. So Iwase approaches Aoki and asks her, why are you creating manga, why manga? And Aoki says, because I love manga, I really like manga. Certain events happen, and there's a surprise for Takagi at the end of this volume, when Takagi goes to meet Aoki at the zoo again, because they tend to meet at the zoo. I don't know why, but they go and meet at the zoo this time, and Iwase is also there, and Takagi goes like, what? Why is she here? And that's how this volume ends. Okay guys, that's it for this review.